We got to air it out. Let's air it out. So we got to air it out. Let's air it out. So
how do you say that? Air it out. Air it out.
Air it out.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Air It Out podcast. I am your humble host, Avery Collins. I am joined on the panel. We brought Juan back. He's back in the building today. The one and only. Say what's up to the people. You're muted, sir. You're muted.
You may be the humble host, but I'm the petty guest, and it was all talk about today.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm not mad at all. Our CEO says, let's go. What up, Jerome? What up, what up, what up? Hello, Mother Dearest. How are you? Love you, love you, love you. Jerome says, yo, hit that like and sub and noti, y'all. Nah, that's facts. Hit the like, sub, and noti. Share this joint, too. You know what I'm saying? Get it out there. But we are also joined on this panel by none other than Coach himself, Coach Braxton. Say what up.
See, I've been waiting all week for this podcast. My students knew I was waiting all week. My coworkers knew I was waiting all week. This has been crazy. In the
watching,
I'm getting notifications left and right, just this, that, and the third. I'm like, can it be Thursday already? Can it be Thursday?
Yeah, man.
Oh, man.
It's been a pretty wild week in sports. Well, in the NFL in general. And so I'm like, yeah, I couldn't wait either. I'm like, what is happening? Oh, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
I think in our group chat, I said that this is like the worst week or something like that because too much news to talk about, and it was just so hard to pick three topics.
Exactly. See, but this is what I love, man. This is like off-season football. And we still got stuff to talk about. You got to love it, man. You got to love it. As a matter of fact, you know what? I'm not going to waste any more time. We're going to jump right in to the first topic, okay? We've had a fire week in sports. I didn't even know what to talk about. I really didn't even know what to talk about. I mean, we got trades. We got cuts. We got all types of things that are happening. And I listen, I got to hear from you guys. What is going on? What are the things that are standing out to you? Okay, so let's just try to give I'm gonna give a light rundown here. Okay, breaking news today. Okay, breaking news today. The Chicago Bears are in trade talks with the Chargers.
It's finalized.
It's finalized.
Oh goodness! Oh,
it's finalized. In a third.
A second and third for Khalil Mack. So now Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack are going to be on the same field, on the same defense, terrorizing quarterbacks for the foreseeable future. I'm like, okay, well, LA is just like, yeah, we're trying to win the next 18 Super Bowls. Like the Rams, we saw what they did. Now the Chargers are like, oh, that's how we gonna do it. Okay, so here's our counter. Okay, so that's one right there. Okay, Mack and Bosa on the same field. Like we thought Ingram and Bosa was bad, but now you're talking about, in my opinion, the second best pass rusher in the league, behind, again, it's my personal opinion, Von Miller. I think he's still number one. Okay. And then you got Khalil Mack. You got Joey Bosa, who's easily top five. Some maybe, but I think he's top five. Goodness gracious. Okay, so that's one. Then you got Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson traded to the Denver Broncos. Okay, now that offense is going to have Cortland Sutton, Russell Wilson. Jerry Jeudy is about to have a field day. Okay? Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams. So they're going to be able to run the ball. They can throw it. Goodness, I don't. Juan, I just need to say something because I don't even know what to say at this point.
Well, I think these last 3 days have proved that, it may be like we may have opening day coming in about a month or so for baseball, and basketball season still underway, and I think hockey is still going. I don't know. I don't keep track. But football's a year-round sport, my people. Football is king in this beautiful land that we live in. Even in the off season, there is still stuff that dominates the headlines, even when current sports is still going on. And I don't. And today is just an example of it. Freaking a premier pass rusher, despite being in on the wrong side of 30, and Khalil Mack being traded from a sinking ship in Chicago to a potential contender now with the Los Angeles Chargers. Potential contender because they still got Justin Herbert on a rookie deal. They still have about 20 million or so in cap space to work with. Already re-signed Mike Williams to a 3-year contract where he's making good money. A good friend deal, team friendly and receiver friendly deal.
Yep.
Weapons galore on that offense. The defense just got a pass rushing influx with Khalil Mack joining that roster. And what does Chicago get out of it? A 2nd-round pick for this year, a 3rd-round pick for next year. I know that Chicago fleeced Oakland. Oh, now Las Vegas, then Oakland, for when they got Khalil Mack from them. Now it looks like Chicago got fleeced from Mack by Los Angeles. The irony is not lost on me here. Or at least it shouldn't be. However, interesting note about this trade. Khalil Mack, during his first year with the Chicago Bears in 2018, you know who his defensive coordinator? Who his defensive coach was? Brandon Staley, the current head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. And in that 1 year he had with Staley, what did he do? Well, not much. Put up 12.5 sacks, was a first-team All-Pro, was voted to the Pro Bowl, and came in 2nd in Defensive Player of the Year voting. And, not to mention, he is still an agile pass rusher. Like you said, the 2nd-best pass rusher in this league behind Von Miller. I'd say Aaron Donald's the overall best defensive player, and then
Without question. Yes, without
then
question.
Khalil Mack would be like the 2nd or 3rd best. With that being said, Mack brings a whole new element to this team that they haven't had in a while, which is fear. No one has ever feared the Chargers defense, even with Joey Bosa on the other side. It creates much more pressure on the exterior and provides good run defense on the outside too, which they were dead last in last year. It's a great trade for the Chargers. The AFC West is going to be must-watch television this year on all fronts. But we're still waiting for the Raiders to make a move, so I'll leave it at that.
Absolutely I'm speechless. I'm floored. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. When I got the news today, I was like, hey, there's no way. No, you know what? That's not what I was like. I was completely grammatically incorrect, and I didn't care. I said, ain't no way. Ain't no way in the world. Goodness gracious. Coach, what do you like? Khalil Mack, Russell Wilson, like what? Like, just go. I don't even know how to. I don't even know what question to ask you.
I got one question. How much time do I got?
Just go.
Listen, so let's start off here. Let's start off here.
Clock starting now.
All right, let's start off here. First off, the AFC West retaliated against the AFC West. That's what it was. When Russell Wilson went in and was obtained by the Broncos, the Chargers went and said, "Oh, we not doing this. We already have Patrick Mahomes. We already have Derek Carr. There is no need for you to bring Russell Wilson. No, we need something for that. We need something to shore up this defense." So we went out and got Khalil Mack. So the fleecing has just been going on and on and on. And guess who else got fleeced? The Washington team. They got Carson Wentz. They got Carson Wentz. And let's hear about it like this. Do we really believe Carson Wentz will be any better now that he is a commander? Let's really be honest. He consistently goes to places, shows that he is not the leader, shows that he is not the guy. He's been traded 4 times. And on top of that, just think about it like this. I'm sorry, twice.
No, three times technically. He got to the Eagles via trade for all the draft picks when they drafted him.
That's where it was. I'm sorry. Yes, it was 3. Draft, multiple picks. When he went to the Colts, and now to the Commanders. The man has 2 first rounders, 2 seconds, and I believe 2 thirds, all in his name for trade.
And what did the Colts get in return?
Rid of a headache. That's what I would say. Rid of a headache. But Eagles fans, be happy. You get to go ahead and beat on the Commanders and embarrass Carson Wentz twice a year now. Have fun with that one, at least.
You mean us Eagles fans? Okay, so my question here is what did the Colts now do? Like, who are they going to at quarterback?
So right now, who they have on the roster at QB1 is Sam Ehlinger, the former Texas quarterback who no one was ready for the NFL. The other former Jets quarterback, James Morgan, somehow ended up on that roster last with the Panthers.
No, that's
not to mention, they don't have a first-round pick this year. The Colts have no first-round pick, so that means they're going to have to look for their signal caller either in a trade, which might be more likely than you think, free agency, although the picking is slim, and the draft, which this year has been rated as one of the lowest crops of quarterbacks in the last 20 years of the NFL.
Well, but Juan, let's think about this. The Colts have the most cap space of any team in the NFL. They can go out and get anyone they want. And they are set up to get a player either in trade or in free agency, such as Jameis Winston. And just listen, the main knock, as we all say, was on Jameis Winston and making those dumb turnovers. If he can continue what he started with Sean Payton, with Frank Reich, who we know is a great quarterback coach and great head coach in the league, people, it will be dangerous. He will be able to.
Hold on. I will say this about. I'll finish your point. Think about that in a minute.
No problem. So listen, just think about it like this. Jameis Winston is able to really air the ball out. At least when it comes to Jimmy G, Jameis Winston has a bigger arm. We've seen it. We know what he can do. If he can continue to stop the bad turnovers, they have enough weapons to where they can go deep. They have Mr. Big Man on campus, Mr. Paris Campbell as well with the speed, and even an older T.Y. Hilton and Jonathan Taylor running the ball, a good offensive line, and a great defense. Jameis Winston will be great in that offense and will truly give them a problem. I'm telling you, especially in that weak division, think about it. The AFC South is trash other than the Titans. It's an easy way to get into the playoffs. They can do it. I'm telling you.
Well, here's the thing. Like with Jameis Winston, you still don't know what you have with him after he tore his ACL. Not to mention, just because, like in the system that we saw him in with Sean Payton, he looked decent, but not like a franchise signal caller decent. I mean, if you had to put him and Carson Wentz side by side, then you could mistake one for the other in a blind test. Not to mention, this year's quarterback market is bare. You have Marcus Mariota, you have Mitchell Trubisky. Are you going to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, who just had a shoulder surgery? Not to mention, to the audience member who brought up Deshaun Watson, Friday we might be hearing some charges against him, which could possibly land him on the commissioner's list for the 2022 season. So he's already out as an option. The Colts are essentially kind of screwed, but they had no choice but to trade Carson. All right, the complaints that the complaints that you heard in Philly about Carson came with him to Indianapolis. It looks like the relationship with Frank Reich was fractured when he got there. Frank Reich literally had to apologize to Colts owner Jim Irsay for lobbying to get him to Indianapolis in the first place. That's how bad it got over there. He was said not to be a real leader in the locker room. He was said that his COVID beliefs were fracturing trust with teammates. And even though he had low turnover numbers, he had high turnover possibility numbers. So he wasn't taking care of the ball. It wasn't that he was taking care of the ball. It's just that defenders kept dropping his picks.
It was a lucky year for him.
Man,
For them Eagles.
I don't know, man. The verdict, the jury's still out on Carson Wentz, of course, right? Without question. Can they bounce back? Because at the end of the day, he's still, quote unquote, in his prime. So he's not an old quarterback by any
stretch. If his prime is a year, then we can call it a prime, I guess. I'm
just saying, I'm talking about age-wise. Age-wise, he's not an old quarterback or anything. Like Cubs have $70 million cap space. A Derek Carr trade wins.
Raiders have come out to say that they won't trade Derek Carr. Then again, we did see Pete Carroll at the combine saying they didn't have any plans to address the quarterback position, and then look what happened. So take anything that you hear from any team with a grain of salt.
So I would say the same thing about Jameis Winston. The verdict is still out on him. The jury is still out on him. We don't know what Jameis Winston's about. How is he going to bounce back from the ACL injury? Is he going to be Jameis with turnover Jameis Winston? Has he learned anything? Mac and Bosa together, that's going to be fun, not for opposing O-lines, though. I agree 100%. Now, with that being said, I think the Washington Commanders might have a pretty good season. I think they disrespected Tyler Heineke, and I'm tired of it. But I think they might have a pretty good season. The Colts, I just don't see, unless they know something we don't, why you would go away from Carson Wentz. Because right now, I don't see any quarterback on the market as far as free agent or in the draft that I'm like, yeah, we gotta get this guy. Like, there's not one. So I'm just like, okay, you have a Super Bowl ready team right now. Your defense is absolutely phenomenal. You guys cause turnovers. You can stop the run. You can play the pass. There's some weaknesses, but you guys are solid. Offensively, one of the best, if not the best offensive line in the NFL. You got one of the best running backs in the NFL. Michael Pittman is an absolute dog. You've got some speed as well on offense. I'm like, you guys are prepared. You're like a piece or two away from being legitimate contenders.
But do you think that Carson was that piece?
I think that I'm not saying that he was the piece. I am saying that we saw what he did with the Eagles, and if he could get anything back to close to where that he was then it's a possibility. Now, do I see it happening right now? Like I said, the jury's still out on that. But is he better than anything? Is he better than anything on the market?
He's a mediocre quarterback now.
Is he better than anything on the market right now?
No.
But let's be honest, the market really got bare when their one guy that we all had to wait for ended up staying with his team.
And let's jump into that little nugget right there.
The greatest contract in NFL history. 4 years.
Supposedly.
Allegedly. As Aaron Rodgers comes out and says, that's not done.
Nah, first off, Aaron Rodgers lets Pat McAfee break the news about him coming back to Green Bay. Ultimate troll, because it was Adam Schefter who kind of ruined the draft last year with all the Aaron Rodgers speculation. So I don't think he's very happy with ESPN right now. Aaron Rodgers, like, coming out and saying, all the reports about the contract that he supposedly signed, although no one said that he signed a contract. They only stated the stipulations of the contract that was agreed upon by both Rodgers and the Packers, which was a 4-year, $200 million contract with $153 million guaranteed. The guy is literally averaging $50 million a year. That's market resetting numbers for someone who is 38 and a 4-time MVP. And I they're still in cap trouble, and the Packers still have so many needs to address. It's a laundry list. They have to franchise Devontae Adams, try to sign him to a long-term deal. They might have to let go of Zadarius Smith and Preston Smith, two of the best pass rushers. Trying to get Devondre Campbell under contract is going to be an issue. Trying to extend Rashad Gary and Jair Alexander is going to be an issue. They are $40 million over the cap and have over 20 free agents to try to bring back. It is insane.
Yeah. That's pretty wild. And I don't understand. Well, okay, I understand, because it's Aaron Rodgers, but I don't see how they're going to keep a lot of those guys that you just mentioned. It's going to be extremely difficult to do so. I mean, I wonder what's going to happen with the Packers in that regard. But we're going to move into the next topic, okay? We're going to move into the next topic, and the next topic is surrounding, unfortunately, my team once again. And it's like, it's not good enough that we suck, right? Like, it's not good enough that we are a garbage truck fire of a team in the NFL right now. But now we've got off the field issues with a guy who we thought was just a stand-up guy and, comes from the Alabama cloth and all of these different things. Calvin Ridley has effectively been suspended for the entire 2022 season by the NFL for betting on football games. Like you got to know that you can't do that. You're not allowed to do that. It's a rule. It doesn't make any sense. Russell Gage season, bruh. I don't get it, Calvin. Now, for those who don't know, Calvin Ridley removed himself from the team this past season. That's hilarious. Yeah. He removed himself from the team for personal reasons this past season. Nobody ever knew what was going on. We don't know if it was a familial issue. We don't know if it was a mental or emotional issue. We don't know. We just know personal issues. Cool. Now it comes out that during his time away from the team, he was betting on games. Of course, he was betting that the Falcons would win. And it was only $1,500. But you can't do that. And so because of that, he has now forfeited his entire 2022 season. The thing about that is he was slated to be a free agent after this year. But now he owes the Falcons one more year because it's a part of his contract. So he still owes the Falcons that last year. And then he would be able to be a free agent. And that's even if anybody wants him at this point. What are your guys' thoughts on this situation? I have my own thoughts, but I'll save them. Darren, what do you think about Calvin Ridley in this sports betting situation?
I'm going with my fiance on this one. I hope he really invested that, got something out of that $1,500 because you just lost out on a full year's pay, and on top of that, you were already gone for majority of a season for personal reasons. Why would you do this? What made you think that this was the best move? Was the $1,500 worth it? When you're making millions at this point, knowing that you're coming up on a time where you're about to be getting paid. You are one of the better young wide receivers in this league, and this is what you decide to do. I feel like a lot of these guys, again, some of them are still coming out, growing up, things are going on, but they gotta have people around that tells them like you cannot do this, you cannot risk it, because this is just stupid. I'm sorry. And the craziness is, I seen a report that there was almost a deal being done between possibly the Falcons and the Eagles for Calvin Ridley, but it was stopped because the Falcons, and I will state this and say no problems, the Falcons have class. All trade talk stopped almost a lot. They started to ignore, as the rumors would say, a lot of trade talks because they knew that the Calvin Ridley suspension might be coming up shortly. So your team has a lot of class, Avery.
Yes, absolutely. So for those who don't know, the Falcons had been made aware of the situation, fully cooperated with the NFL in their investigation, did not hold anything back. They knew what was going on, and to Darren's point, stopped all trade talks when it came to Calvin Ridley. For that reason, they did not want to hamper or hinder any other team in that regard. Now, some people say that's, they should have done so and gained a competitive advantage. Others, like myself, like Darren, look at it from a standpoint of, no, that's a classy move. And I respect it without question. Juan, what are your thoughts on the Calvin Ridley situation? Do you think that players should be able to bet on games? And then two, do you feel like the suspension is warranted in that regard?
I don't think, number one, I don't think players should bet on games because we all know like what that leads to: point shaving, fixing games, ruining of the sport as a whole. Taking away the competitive edge and suspense of a sport and kind of fixing it, essentially, and no one wants to enjoy that. Second, I do not condone what Calvin Ridley did. I will say the 1 year suspension is too harsh for something like this. There are abusers. There are you have people who've hit their girlfriends, their wives, their children playing in this league, there's video of Ezekiel Elliott pulling down a girl's top on a boat. There are stories of Jameis Winston groping an Uber driver, Tyreek Hill hitting his kid, Adrian Peterson taking a switch to his child, Greg Hardy throwing his girlfriend on a pile of guns,
Aaron Hernandez, Ben Roethlisberger.
There are so
Ray
many,
Lewis.
and even like guys like Josh Gordon, who all he did was get caught smoking weed, which at the time was an illegal drug in the NFL. Like all these guys, all these guys who were accused of serious stuff, 6-game suspensions, 2-game suspensions. Ray Rice at first was 2 games, then 6 games, then on the exempt list, and then never played another down, but only after outrage from the public came. And Calvin Ridley loses a year of eligibility, his entire paycheck, just because of a $1,500 bet. We've always called out the NFL for hypocrisy, especially in the light of the Stephen Ross situation of the Dolphins owner paying $100K to his coach to lose. That's essentially fixing the game, which not yet proven, but still. It's just sad. It's sad that this kid put himself in that situation. It's even sadder that the NFL responded in this way.
Yeah.
And the saddest part of it, he can't appeal until next year.
So I just want to confirm, ladies and gentlemen, you're allowed to be an accused rapist. You're allowed to be a domestic abuser. You're allowed to be convicted of and guilty of and spend time in prison for manslaughter. You're allowed to use illegal weapons. You're allowed to be a racist. And with all of those, the maximum in any of those situations that I just named has been 10 games. The maximum in any of those situations, 10 games. But if you spend $1,500 saying, I think my team is going to win, your season is done. Your entire season is done. Make it make sense. I do not condone betting in the sport that you're playing at all. I do not condone it. I don't think the owner should be able to bet. I don't think if you are a part of that organization at all, in that franchise at all, you should be able to bet in that sport. I just don't believe. I agree with you, Juan. I don't think that you should be allowed. But one season is absolutely egregious. It's absolutely overkill, in my opinion. It doesn't make any sense. Like, that is just, to me, again, it just doesn't make sense. Like, you're literally, like, you suspended Josh Gordon you took 6 seasons away from him. 6 seasons away from Josh Gordon for marijuana. Did Ben Roethlisberger ever miss a down?
Unless he was hurt.
They took away 6 seasons from Josh Gordon for weed. They took away an entire career from Colin Kaepernick for kneeling. They took away still
trending.
Literally, let's literally put this in context, ladies and gentlemen. Dante Stallworth, who he was forthright with everything that happened. Okay, he was honest about everything that happened. He did not deny anything. He did his time, all of those different things. But this man got drunk, decided to get behind the wheel, and killed somebody. He did 30 days in jail. And I don't remember a suspension from the NFL. If he did get suspended, the maximum would have been, again, 10 games. And I know for sure it wasn't that, because of all the scenarios I just gave, it was literally, the maximum was 10 games. I mean, Richie Incognito can literally use racial slurs against a teammate. Like, you can literally punch and kick a woman on an elevator.
That was 6 games.
And get 6 games. But if I say, I believe my team is going to win, and I'm going to place a little bit of money on that. Like, I'm a millionaire. I'm going to place $1,500 on the fact that I think my team is going to win.
It's like putting that's to them is like if your entire salary was $100, so it's like about $5.
It just doesn't make any sense. So we're dropping the hammer on betting in football. So when is Stephen Ross, Miami Dolphins owner, suspension, given $100K for coaches going to lose? Like, this doesn't make sense, NFL. This is why people have issues when you even decide to support or speak out on topics, because we're like, oh, you spoke out on that, but you can't. You're talking about breast cancer awareness, but you can't protect like the women that are in situations with the men that you are employing. Like, literally, like this right here is like, okay, all right, well, I definitely ain't gonna sports bet because I'm gonna lose a hope. But if I want to sit out for a little bit, I'm gonna just go punch my wife in the face because I know I'm not gonna lose the season. This is absolutely, it just does not make sense. I don't understand it. There's no justification for it, in my opinion. I think the NFL absolutely missed. And I understand wanting to set a standard. I completely understand it. But this is where you, like Chris just said, this is where you want to drop the hammer. This is the standard. This is the thing that caused you to say, oh, no, this is egregious. One full season. Like, what? Like, we have video of a woman being abused, physically abused on an elevator.
So, you know, it kind of also, like, I'm sorry, Darren, you go.
I just don't understand it. Like,
if we move on, I want to end it on this. You know, if this is what Calvin Ridley gets for betting, I'd love to see what Antonio Brown gets for all his crap.
You guys keep talking about this. I need to step away for a second because I'm honestly a little bit upset. Let me recollect myself. Y'all talk about this amongst yourself for a second. Thank you very much.
Oh, man. Just do we have to? Do we need to? It's just. Also, can we also touch on the fact that some of the other hotter topics that came out this week? Because it was so much. already touched on the Aaron Rodgers, but we never touched on the guys that got tagged.
That's true.
Aaron Rodgers came back. Devontae Adams gets tagged. Chris Godwin got tagged.
Jesse Bates got tagged.
That was a great one. I love that safety. A lot of people do not understand how great.
And then like a whole ton of tight ends got tagged in a tight end heavy draft.
Dalton Schultz. Oh, it was wonderful. It was wonderful. And then hold on, and I'm a little bit. Listen, I might be a little biased on this because I kind of really low key like this guy. I love the way he developed. He started off raw, and then he's just shown year after year that he's gotten better. Harold Landry getting that 5-year deal with the Tennessee Titans. I think that makes that defense great. Him, Bud Dupree, and Jeffrey Simmons. Oof, that is going to be a fearsome threesome right there.
The jury's still out for me on Bud Dupree, especially because he tore his ACL last year, and was still underperforming even when he was playing. So,
thank you all for your patience there. I needed a moment because I was getting a little hot. Okay,
it hurts, man. It hurts
because it just doesn't make any sense, and it's not because it's my team. It's not because it literally just doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm like, this just doesn't sit right with me because it's like, I don't know. I feel like where is the protection for again, women in these situations? Where is the protection for children in these situations? Where is the protection for the families who have lost loved ones because of some of these situations? Like, to me, it just doesn't make any sense.
They have to protect what they know. And
they always
protecting about all costs. They protect their money.
They're protecting the shield, and I get it.
Come on.
But again, this is the precedent of protecting the shield? Like, it just. Anyway, we're gonna move on to the next topic because I'm gonna get upset again. Anyway, okay.
Yeah, this is about
Bobby Wagner has been released.
This one hurts.
Okay.
This one hurts.
He has been
released. We go from Harold Landry to Bobby Wagner. Yeah, it's linebacker.
Has officially been released by the Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks are officially in rebuild mode at this point, right? Like, you get rid of Russell Wilson, you get rid of your quarterback and your staple on defense of the last 10 to 12 years.
10 years. Both of them came in on the same draft class.
It just doesn't make any sense to me. But at the same time, it makes sense because you are rebuilding. But Bobby Wagner, he's gone. So my question to you, and I'll start with you, Juan. Where does Bobby Wagner land? Where's the best fit for Bobby Wagner? Mm-hmm. And if this is it for Bobby Wagner, where does he rank?
All time or okay, all time.
All time.
Yeah. Before I answer your questions, Avery, I want to say a few things. Number one, shout out to the Seattle Seahawks for giving up their franchise quarterback to get back the picks that they traded to my New York Jets during the Jamal Adams trade. Shout out to Jamal Adams, who was trying to get out of a quote-unquote rebuilding situation to join a contender, only to get into another rebuilding situation in the long term.
The shade! The shade! I absolutely love the shade. Juan, that was absolutely beautiful. I completely forgot about that. That is great.
My hat to you. Tips my hat to you, buddy.
Not to mention the pick. Not to mention we might as the Jets also have the capital to trade back the 10th overall pick they got from Seattle to get DK Metcalf instead, which is a highly debated trade opportunity right now. So we're basically giving Seattle back theirs for another one of their pieces.
My.
And that's where I'll end it. Now, I've been saying this for since the last 2 days. The Seattle Seahawks are not going anywhere. Just because they have all these first round picks doesn't mean they know how to spend it. The last good first round pick they made, 2010, and that was when they got. Oh man, I forget his last name. One of the top free safeties that ever played in this game. Earl
Thomas.
Earl Thomas, thank you. Earl Thomas was a first-round pick for them back in 2010, right at the start of the Legion of Boom. Since then, not a single first-round pick has amounted to anything outside of Rashad Penny, and that's barely amounting to anything.
Well, I mean, DK's been good.
He's a second-round pick.
Yes, that's the thing. So let's be honest. At this point, whenever we think Earl Thomas, what's the first thing we think of, people?
That's
it's very sad what it is.
Say it again.
It's the first thing we all think of. This is where we are at with
this.
It's
not the first thing I think of, but we'll move on. The other thing I wanted to say was that Pete Carroll should have been the one to go, not Russell Wilson. Pete Carroll is archaic. He still believes that establishing the run is still something you need to succeed in the NFL when it's been proven time and time again that the run is more of a luxury than it is a necessity. Not to mention John Schneider. Is it John or Josh Schneider, the GM for the Seattle Seahawks? John Schneider. He's a proven. He can still draft. So him staying was good. But Pete Carroll should have left, and he shouldn't have gotten more power within an organization who's still looking for an owner. All right, so that's part of it. Now to answer your questions, Avery, number one, I haven't really given much thought to where Bobby Wagner's going to go. I mean, he's 34, 35 years old, one of the best linebackers in the league still, was an all-pro 2 years ago, but still had a huge impact this year. It's hard to say, but if I had to take a guess, if he's looking for money, the Raiders, simply because they just released Corey Littleton. So they already have a huge gap in the linebacker position. Not to mention they have a good pass rushing situation. And the AFC West is apparently in an arms race, so might as well just bring Bobby Wagner in there. That's like his ideal landing spot money-wise. If he's looking to try to run the table for another championship, if he's willing to take a team-friendly deal, I'd say here in Wisconsin, Green Bay. I think he could be a Packer under the right contract circumstances. And where he would rank all time, top 10, top 7 linebacker all time, in my opinion, simply because he was a late round pick, undersized for a middle linebacker, similar to a Ray Lewis, who was deemed in similar stature and stance, yet was a first round pick himself. Proved himself and gained himself the respect of his peers simply through hard work, dedication, and wasn't even that vocal of a player. Always played, let his game do the talking, and was the heart and soul, truly the heart and soul of that Legion of Boom defense.
Absolutely. I love it. Okay, Coach Bobby Wagner, thoughts? Where does he go? Where does he fit?
First off, Seahawks, y'all making moves that no one understands right now. I feel like there might be the new Texans right now. And it might all be because of Pete Carroll and his unwillingness to step down. But I digress. I digress. So Bobby Wagner, man is a beast. 170 tackles last season. He was an all-pro last season, a Pro Bowler. Last season, the man still got it. He's not 34, but he is 32. He's still on the wrong side of 30. But when a guy has 170 tackles and has been known to be one of the smartest, best all-around players, whether it's against the run, whether it's against the pass, he does his job at the highest level year in and year out. He's going to get a job for at least the next 2 years minimum. And because of that, I believe his probably best fit for him will be with the Arizona Cardinals. I do not think he will go there, but I would love the fit of the Arizona Cardinals. Him going in there to lead that defense, have a couple aging guys and younger guys mixed in from the draft, because they need to still get that secondary a little bit under control. But him, Buda Baker,
losing top tier pass rusher and Chandler Jones.
Exactly, you can replace some of that production, not all, but some, because we all know Bobby Wagner still gets sacks. Listen, oh man, That would be nasty. And then just think about this, people. Buda Baker at safety, Isaiah Simmons and Bobby Wagner in the middle. That right there is dangerous for any quarterback. There's no running, and we know where you're going. I would love to see it happen. But it's anyone's guess where he's going. All the NFC West teams want him, and it's no surprise why he dominated against them for year in and year out. So it's anyone's guess, but wherever he goes, he's going to do well. I'll say that for sure.
I like it, man. I like it. I agree with you, Juan. If he wants money, I could see the Raiders being a good fit. I could see Miami being a good fit. You know, if he wants money and to play on a really good defense. But like you said, if he wants to contend, I agree with you. I think the Packers are a great team to go in. Obviously, like you said, it would have to be a team-friendly deal, but I think the Packers would be a great team for him to potentially contend with. I think in addition to that team, I agree with you, Darren. The Cardinals would be a good fit, but I think the best fit, and this is my personal opinion, I think the best fit, especially if he wants to win and potentially make some money. I mean, I don't know how much money they have. They're probably in a bad situation. I didn't check, so don't hold this to me. But the Rams, man, I think the Rams would be an amazing fit. I mean, at my opinion, I think the weakest position on their defense is linebacker, particularly in the middle. And I would love to see him get another ring. And I would love to see him dominate on that defense if they can bring back Von Miller, if Aaron Donald decides to come back, Jalen Ramsey. Oh my! I mean, to me, I'm like, if it happens, they immediately, to me, become the best defense in the NFL.
Shout out to our reader, who's a middle linebacker for the Los Angeles Rams.
Wait. Bobby Wagner, Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald.
Yep.
Von Miller.
Yeah.
Leonard Floyd. All on defense on one field at one time.
I mean,
all these guys are over 30.
And
but they're not all.
But over 30, but not old over 30. Like they're 32. Like
let's think about
it. It's 32
and 26, 27.
I was saying it's 32 and
Ramsey's about 26, 27. Those two guys are still young. The older guys, yes, Von Miller is older, but he's still one of the best in the league, as we already claimed and said. Aaron Donald, we already know, unanimous, one of the best, if not the best defensive player in this league right now. And we already are stating that Bobby Wagner is still among one of the best inside linebackers.
And here's the best part about it. They don't have to trade for him. They can literally just go get him. He's not under contract. He literally could say, yeah, I'll take a $2 million contract this year to come and come win a Super Bowl. Like that, I mean, he literally could just say, yeah. And it's warm in LA. It's nice in LA. He doesn't have to move to like the East Coast because he's already in the West Coast in Seattle. Technically, he really wouldn't have to move at all. Like he could still live in Seattle and play in LA.
That's a hell of a commute, though.
Yeah, absolutely. But the point is, he can be close to family if he doesn't want to move his family into LA and stuff like that. He's not extremely far, like, again, across the country or anything like that. To me, my personal opinion, if he wants to win, LA just makes a ton of sense. It just makes a ton of sense. I mean, and then you think about all the pressure that's off of him because of the fact that there's this man named Aaron Donald and right in front of you. Think about that as a running back. Where do you go? Like you can't say, yeah, we're gonna go because wait. Like you look up and you're like, that's Aaron Donald, that's Bobby, that's Von.
What side do you try to attack?
And then there's Leonard right there. And then let's not forget, Reader is he can read. So we can't forget about him. All right. So, and then as a quarterback, you're like, which hole do we run to, guys? As a center, you're like, who are we going to block?
As a wide receiver, you're like, can I get open?
Right, as a wide receiver, you're like,
Jalen Ramsey, Darius Phillips, who is still a good corner in his own right.
Josh
And then
Johnson.
2 great young safeties back there, including Taylor Rapp. Who, honestly, I love him. Kind of like him.
And here's the thing as well. Bobby is not just a run-stopping, hole-filling lap. Like, he can cover, too. Like, so tight end is probably looking like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't see. Obviously, they would have to gel. They would have to match.
Defense, man.
But just me personally, I think
That's
Bobby Wagner to the Rams would be absolutely scary. Just absolutely, again, and because he's a free agent, like he literally can go wherever he wants to go for whatever amount he wants. If he wants to, fade off into the sunset, but yet still be a part of a great defense and get paid, I think Miami's the best bet for that, right? Like, it's Miami. You're going to get some good weather. You're going to get a lot of money. You're going to be a part of a really good defense. And you could potentially still get into the playoffs and different things like that, because it's not like the Patriots or anything like that just kind of blew up and took over the division. Maybe the Bills, but we saw the Bills falter against the Patriots when the Patriots threw 2 passes on them. So they could be considered inconsistent. They still can't get over the Patrick Mahomes hump. So, I mean, for me, if he wants to win.
Got one more for you. And we're still in that same city, though. So the same team that just got a crazy trade today.
Oh, the Chargers.
Just hear me out. Bobby Wagner, Derwin James. We know they can still go back and get Casey Hayward, who's now a free agent off the Raiders, who he was a great fit with the Chargers. Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack.
Oh my goodness.
People, we know that offense is explosive. The only thing that's slowing them down right now is the defense. That defense can pick it up, even though they have a lot of young guys, including the young corner of Asante Samuel.
And here's the best part about that. Not only we have a chance to win, he can win and get paid because they got money to spend. So Bobby Wagner to the Chargers would absolutely be amazing.
Gotta check if they do, because like they did fully guarantee paying the rest of Khalil Mack's contract. So after that, we'll see how much money they got to spend.
Man, look. Oh my. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap up the Air It Out podcast because my brain can't handle any more football talk this week. It's been so much. I don't know what to do with it. But anyway, that's the Air It Out podcast. We appreciate everybody for jumping on. Don't forget to like us on all your social media platforms. That is Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Twitter, Inside Hashes. Facebook, Inside the Hashes. Instagram, Inside the Hashes. Please do that, and then go to YouTube, hit the like button on there, hit the subscription button on there, and hit the notification button on there. So you know when we go live, you can throw in your comments as well and get them aired on live just like this. Pop, what up? Appreciate you. Thank you so much. And last, but certainly not least, please do not forget to check out the website, www.insidethehashes.com. Blogs, podcasts, interviews, fantasy football, all things football. We've got it. We want to give it to you. Thank you, Mother. We truly appreciate it. For the one and only, for Darren or Coach Braxton, yo, hit that like and sub and no to y'all. That's the CEO. He done said it again. This is the Air It Out podcast. We appreciate all of your time and attention. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. And speaking of attention, I want
no. Look, I'll tell you this right now. Matt Ryan might be the one going to be nasty because there's no way he's going to want to stick around that.
I'm saying,
man.
I'm good to go.